Well, welcome back, you absolute stellar legends. So today we're going to be making a video about Silent Hill 2. Man, we are about a week away from the game coming out. Silent Hill 2 remake by Team Bloober. They just had a live stream a couple of days ago, and there is a lot of good that is coming out. Well, the one thing I'm very upset about. So, first of all, I registered for a copy of a review copy of the game from Bloober. Uh, the I have not been declined yet. My request is still pending, so there is still hope. Most likely, we're going to get whoever applied for it will be getting an answer sometime closer during the launch of the game. So we're going to be reacting to a friend of the channel, Neko42, and his predictions for the Silent Hill 2 remake ratings. So before we get into that, I appreciate everybody that's been subscribing. We have over 300 new subscribers, so I very much appreciate everybody. I did not expect this rapid growth to be happening. So just a few things to say. So there are some videos that I am going to be making. Firstly, a video discussing the state of Dragon Quest, the remake and all the redesigns that is causing a lot of debate online and in the gaming community. And as well, I will be discussing why Canadian content creators stay away from certain topics, which is why I did not publish my Sweet Baby Inc. employee reaction to committing a murder. That's how they referenced their strategy and tactics to taking over the gaming industry to burn it to the ground. So without further ado, now,
are we witnessing the Bloober Team redemption arc, people?
I am here for you, James.
Because lately it sure seems that way. With just over a week to wait now to get our little mittens on the Silent Hill 2 remake,
Yep. So I already did my pre-order for the physical copy of the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Unfortunately, there's no collector's edition for it. So it officially comes out on the 8th of October, and we are September 30th today. If I want to have 2-day early access, I have to purchase the Digital Deluxe, which is $113 to have access to it, and that really sucks because just the base game is $93 digitally, or $90 in store, physical. So I'm going to have to purchase the game twice. That sucks. Unless I get a review copy.
to give some final predictions on what I think the review scores might be, and the general reception from the audience, and what it means for the series going forward.
So this Mang Neko42, check his channel out and give him a sub.
From what we've seen so far, and let's be honest, it's been quite a lot at this point, with all the story beats being largely in the same places as the original, we really only have to be concerned about the delivery of the story, be it the voice work, the facial capture, or the cinematography. So far, for me at least, the characters talking to each other and interacting with each other look to be like one of this game's main strengths. And I know a lot of the fans from the original are going to miss that sort of David Lynch-esque delivery of the dialogue, but I think that being a charm of the original in the form of a PS2 game in the era that it came out, I really just don't think it would work very well for this remake, because it's clear that the delivery and the voice acting caliber in this new version seem to be a lot more in line with modern productions. And no, I don't mean modern productions as in written by a fat chick with blue hair who hates men, but
modern audiences. That was one of the worst combination of words that Team Bloober used. So yeah, so the thing with the original Silent Hill 2, the original voice acting, you guys saw my video comparing the two voices side by side. So the original voice acting suited the game because of the time and the style of the game. When they introduced professional acting, it kind of threw things off and was very, even though the acting itself was actually good, they were actually acting, it did not suit the campiness of the original. So now that we have a more professional game with professional voice acting, it does suit the look, tone, and environment of the actual game. So the voice acting, barring certain things, especially with Maria, is actually on point.
Modern in terms of professionalism with the voice work and the facial capture, so that the actors can really put their sort of emotions and their stamp on it using the more modern technology for game production. That kind of modern. I especially love the sound of the new James. He's been brought to life in a way that I really didn't expect from a Silent Hill 2 remake, and I cannot wait to go on his journey again in this new way. I'm not totally convinced with Maria at this point, but I'm just sort of hoping that she might win me over in the end.
I don't know, man. She's missing the warmth, the flirtatiousness, the sultriness that Maria had in the original. Because don't forget, guys, this is not Mary. This is Maria. She is the idealized version of what James wanted Mary to be. And they very much downplayed so far from what we've seen. Hey, you never know what they showed us here could be a little bit different from the final product. Maybe they heard us, because one thing about Team Bloober is that they did listen to the audience and they did make changes on that, which is, bro, a hell of a lot more than I could say for so many games on shore, right? Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. The more we told them we didn't like it, the harder they pushed it on us.
And Monica Hogan's voice work is too powerful. Eddie just sounds brilliant. I feel his new voice actor is sticking closer to the original voice work, more so than the rest of the cast, and he's doing a great job at it.
Eddie looks like
I
a
even
piranha.
like the new Angela.
A fat piranha.
She's got a distinct tone to her voice, and it will be interesting to see, especially when we get to that abstract daddy boss battle. And for those concerned about how she looked when they first sort of revealed her, Bloober Team have changed the camera angle from that one clip where she's like, "I'm not lying," and then her face looks completely atrocious. They have addressed it and they have changed it. I'll just play it here so you can see the difference.
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
David Duchovny, I want to believe. Do, 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 do. You know I'm on key.
Let's go.
嘘じゃない。
Much more normal, right?
So it looks way better now, and I'm not really worried about it anymore. So the story elements look like they're at least an 8 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10. But the gameplay is where it's going to really count, and that's probably where it's going to potentially lose marks for when it comes to critic reviews. Because initially when we saw this game in motion, I just had this horrible sense of dread, and not the good kind of dread that Silent Hill tends to impose on the...
We all had that. We all had that. There is a store in Silent Hill 2 called Jigga's Shop. I think it's a music store or some store, I forget. But it is up on my channel somewhere.
Player. More just like dread that Bloober Team had learnt nothing from the criticism.
You guys have no idea the connection between me and Silent Hill. One day, you will realize it.
Of their past work. The animations looked terribly rudimentary. The combat looked like bootleg The Last of Us with mid-2000s layers of jank on top of it. I mean, acid splatters on the screen. In 2024, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, so this is old footage, and I do agree it is very ugly. The fugleration.
But since that combat reveal, every time they've shown the game, it looks better.
Guys, if you are enjoying my video and if you're enjoying Neko42's video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm actually catching up to his subscriber count. He's got 2,400. Actually, let me see the live count. So Neko42 officially at 2,400 subscribers. Let's get him to 3,000 subscribers. Could we do it? I believe in you guys. Alright, so, like I said, like and subscribe, both our channels. Me first, though. Me first.
better. It really feels like Konami and Bloober had been hearing us and they made changes to bring it more in line with our expectations, such as the option to remove all of the UI elements, and yes, that includes those horrendous acid splatters on the screen, and the exploration of new areas of the town really looked to sort of flesh out the parts of the original game.
Now, the combat is still a little off, but again, they're not a AAA studio, which is amazing that they actually got the rights to such a huge IP.
Game that previously blocked your entry.
Can you imagine if the studio that made Suicide Squad made this game? You know, James would be like, "Oh man, this is so gross! Yo, you guy, get away! F off!" And then you would have rainbow splattering everywhere and magenta coloring all over the place.
Because and I'm sure you've done it as well, when you were to think about what would a Silent Hill 2 remake even mean and what would it even be like, and how would you add to it like an almost perfect framework without taking anything away? Well, one of the easiest things I thought would be like to just let us explore more of the town in those kind of like open worldy sections. Like let me go into more of the buildings. It is going to be a longer game, a much longer game. Let me get some more tidbits and lore about the town itself, because the story is very much a James story in Silent Hill 2, but there are little bits like the Walter Sullivan articles and things like that where you learn a little bit more about Silent Hill in general. So if they could do more of that, which it looks like they're going to do, like I'm all in on that.
Sorry about the creaking, guys, but you guys need to buy me a new chair. I made $70 last week. I'm a quarter of the way to a new chair where you guys won't hear.
They also announced on Twitter already that not only are all of the endings from the original game present in this remake, but they've also added some new ones too. And what these new endings are and the conditions that need to be met to get them is still unclear, but I mean, new endings. Now all they need to do is say that we can unlock new outfits. Let us unlock James's original costume with the patches on his jacket and Maria's Christina Aguilera hooker outfit. Please, thank you.
Bro, can you imagine if the... Can you imagine if the new endings for the game are better than what Team Silent originally did? Bro, that would be crazy.
The combat has looked much better since it was first revealed.
The nurses. Yes, you are seeing correct. That is cleavage. You love to see it. Now, if this was made by a Western studio, she'd be wearing a black freeze collar shirt that would go right up to her chin. And it would also be hiding a Adam's apple on the female nurses.
And we know Silent Hill isn't all about combat, but it is there and it does happen a fair bit. So it being panicky and satisfying to use is important.
Bro, you gotta admit, the fact that they're not holding back on the violence is also pretty damn cool, especially like when you're looking at the scene with the nurses. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. I would imagine that a Western studio, like if Activision took it, it would have been toned down. It definitely would have been toned down.
But it is there and it does happen a fair bit. So it being panicky and satisfying to use is important to get right, as it will pull a new audience of people who didn't play the original and hopefully start to grow a younger fan base.
Crazy.
So with all that said, I think the gameplay will probably get scored around a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It will probably lose marks because there's weird things like muzzle flashes looking kind of naff, and the way that the camera and James recoil from firing shots does look a bit amateurish at times.
Again, they're kind of in... I think I think they're considered a AA. Yeah, AA company.
But the exploration looks really intriguing, and there are a bunch of new puzzles as well. Like, I recently watched the presentation they did at Tokyo Game Show, and it was in the Brookhaven Hospital. But it's like, there was a bunch of new key items, and like the map looked familiar, but it was different. So I can see us all getting lost again when we're playing it for the first time, and that's a really cool prospect. Not being able to just know instantly where to go and what to do to progress, kind of like how you might visit somewhere in a dream. You know somehow that it's a certain place, even when the architecture is different and there are like new rooms that don't exist in the real world versions. Next up is the music, and this is quite an easy and short section to analyze, to be honest. It's Akira Yamaoka. He's a god. We don't deserve him.
I recently started playing Silent Hill 2 again. And yeah, this looks amazing. This scene right over here, this looks amazing.
This is just a froth section, to be honest, because every track we've heard glimpses of so far sound absolutely brilliant. Silent Hill official.
And also, interestingly enough, I've been using a lot of Silent Hill music in a few of my videos, and none of them have been copyright claimed or blocked. So that's great on Konami to do that. And Akira Yamaoka returns to do the scoring for the game, as you heard, and the music sounds awesome.
Your YouTube channel has even put a bunch of teasers out for every track on this new soundtrack, and I listened to it earlier. It's like 40 minutes long, but oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm thinking about downloading it and splitting it up to create a playlist for you guys to listen to.
And I'm so glad that I bought the deluxe version of the game, not just for the early access to the game, but you get the whole soundtrack digitally, and I can't wait to listen to it all with headphones. Music is easily going to be a 10 out of 10. So,
for sure.
What do I think the general
no
review
contest.
scores for this game are going to be? Considering everything we've just gone through, I would say the game could...
All right, so now he's going to talk about... He's going to predict the scores.
Easily scored 8 out of 10 or even a 9 out.
Wait a second. You love it. I love the font. Is that still Comic Sans?
Easily scored.
Hard to tell, but it kind of does look like Comic Sans, doesn't it? But a longer version.
8 out of 10 or even a 9 out of 10.
Taller.
I mean, let's be honest, IGN are probably going to give it a 7 because that's just their sort of MO at the moment. It all depends on how this game sticks its ladder 7 because that's just their... I would say the game could easily score an 8 out of 10 or even a 9 out of 10.
8 out of 10, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities. I'll tell you guys what I'm giving it so far in a moment.
I mean, let's be honest, IGN are probably going to give it a 7 because that's just their sort of MO at the moment. It all depends on how this game sticks its landing, and if the gameplay doesn't wear itself out...
Let's look at that side.
It all depends on how this...
Okay, no, it's not the Comic Sans. It actually, yeah, it's more of a normal Arial font.
Game sticks its landing, and if the gameplay doesn't wear itself out with the longer runtime. Remember, this is expected to take 16 to 18 hours for a first playthrough. That's a hell of a long time. I mean, that's like at least 5, 6, maybe 7 hours longer than a first playthrough of the original game. So you're going to want to hope that it stays gripping for that long, otherwise it could lose marks for being unnecessary.
I think this looks fantastic. The fog looks less liquidy, like less like smoke. It looks more like it billows and it's thick.
Necessarily bloated. So from everything we've seen so far, for me at least, it looks like a 9 out of 10 game. But then maybe I'm biased because I'm a...
Looks visually, yes. Visually, I give the game a 9 out of 10.
Manic Silent Hill fan. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to review this game from a sort of neutral third party. But this game scoring well, resonating well with the players will be a huge win for the franchise, and it could pave the way for even more remakes of the original games. I know some of you don't want that, you want new games, but there are a lot of people that want 1 and 3 and 4 remade. But arguably, most importantly, securing Silent Hill's return to glory. We haven't had a good Silent Hill game since Silent Hill 4 The Room. And Bloober have shown a lot of love that they have for the original game, even...
So this is the bobblehead nurse.
Down to things like the disc for the game on PS5.
Yeah, not gonna lie, this looks... I'm not a fan of the labeling of the PlayStation 5 at the bottom, but this looks great. So Neko42 is in the UK, so that's why he has the Peggy 18 logo. But this over here, this looks great. Yeah, I love the design of the... Hopefully it's going to look like this on our in our place as well. I'll do the unboxing when I get it.
And I have been pretty harsh on them in some of my previous videos, but that is only because I haven't liked a single one of their games, and they were set to remake my favorite game of all time, so obviously I'm going to be a bit precious about it.
Alright, so honestly, like, I'm 100% in agreement with Neko. So here's the thing. Even Neko, myself as well, and other gamers, other fans of Silent Hill, we were very, very critical. We were also very, very harsh, sometimes needless, but we needed to make sure that this was done right. Because if this was not done right, if we did not put the pressure on both Konami and Team Bloober to actually do better, we needed to make sure that the game was done correctly. Because if this fails, like, if you are a Silent Hill fan, you have to hope that this game is done well. If it's not done well, criticize it for it not being good. But I don't really see anything that is terrible so far or anything woke. Like, yes, they are consulting with a company called Hit Detection. I'll get to that in a moment. But we're not really seeing anything like we're not seeing any red flags. And the morons that refuse to change their take on Silent Hill are, in my opinion, they're just doing it to appease their audience because they created an echo chamber for themselves where they're not allowed changing their views, because if they change their views, they're afraid that their view count and subscriber count is going to take a hit. That's why it's important to be fair, balanced, and honest in the way you review things. Like, I have no problem saying that I made a mistake, or I was wrong about this, I was wrong about that, just like when I'm not afraid of saying when I'm correct on things. So we needed to make sure that the game was going to be done well, and it requires criticism, and it also requires us changing along with the game's direction. If we see that the game direction is not changing, they're not listening to us. La 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 la. Not listening to you. Not listening to you, right winger. Not listening to you. Because they have been putting in the effort. They have been actually listening to us and making changes for the better for the game. So that's why I think we have to give the game the honest chance. Don't listen to anybody laughing at the Bloober saying, "Oh, please give our game a chance." Anyways, let's stop rambling.
But now I'm like ready to go into this as open-mindedly as I possibly can, and they're ticking boxes for me personally. But anyway, what do you think of the predictions, guys? I reckon it's going to be an 8 out of 10. Maybe even a 9 out of 10. What do you think? What things are you most excited about? What things are you most concerned about? Please like the video for me. Share it about if you want to. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see ya when I'm looking at ya.
Yeah, so he's going to be streaming it on the 6th. Alright, so as the game stands right now, I am giving the game an easy 7 out of 10. I can give it a higher scoring, but I don't want to give it a higher scoring until I actually experience the game for myself. I want to at least have 3 to 4 hours of good gameplay before I increase my rating from a 7 to what it actually will end up being. I'm a Silent Hill fan. I'm a resident, born and raised in Silent Hill, so even if this game was garbage, I was still gonna buy it because it is a Silent Hill game and I want to have everything in the collection. I have Silent Hill Homecoming and Downpour as well. The only one I don't have physically is Silent Hill 1 and Book of Memories. I stupidly traded both of them in when I was younger. Very stupid. Alright guys, so I hope you guys tune in hopefully on the 6th. Hopefully on the 8th for when I start doing the Silent Hill gameplay footage. I'll let you guys know if I get approved for the early access keys from Bloober or Konami, whoever it is that's going to be giving out the review copies. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys giving me some of your time today. Come back for the next video. Giga Vega out. Alright, later.